Good morning to you, my friends. Welcome to today's walk with me video. Yes, my name is Donny G and I'm here in Wanstead Park where I'll be taking you on a little walk, and today's topic of our video is all about change. That's right. Change is turn. Let's go into the park. Oh yes, my friends, a very warm welcome back to my latest video. It's Saturday morning. Yes, Saturday. And normally on a Saturday morning, like a lot of people, might be out in a park on a run, but I looked at the weather forecast and it didn't look too pleasant later on in the day, so when I was going to initially record this, but I changed my plan. So I thought, let's come out. It's a gorgeous sunny morning. Very chilly though. Yes, the weather has changed. I don't know what the weather is like where you are, but whilst it's sunny here at the moment, it has been quite changeable. It's been quite chilly, hence the top on. I think it's about 8 degrees Celsius at the moment. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but yes, so today's topic is I'm going to be talking about changes. But before I go into that, I've got to say a big thank you to all those guys who left the comments and feedback on my last video where I was talking about various things, yeah, and I mentioned about shoes and being wasteful and all that, and I'll talk a little bit more on some of the changes of what maybe I've been doing and what we can do and how we can change for the better. Yeah, onwards, down to the water. So yes, as I was saying, it's a bit breezy here. I hope the sound has come out good on here, that you can hear me clearly, that the wind doesn't affect. As I say, the reason why I do these walking videos rather than running is that the sound on these, as good as they are on these GoPros, is it can get a bit so I'd like to keep it a bit clear, so hopefully this wind isn't affecting too much. I mentioned about changes, yeah, changes that you might have noticed, and I'll quickly mention it now. Some of you may notice that my hair, yes, how are you all coping with the lockdown hair? It's getting a bit wild, isn't it? Yeah, now I think the last time I had my hair cut, as I digress, last time I had my hair cut, obviously it was before the lockdown, because all the barbers have been shut during lockdown. So I think it might have been end of February, around end of February, beginning of March. So that's a long time. So yeah, it's a bit wild. I could have put a baseball cap on, which is what some people do to hide their hair, and but I'm not that. I'm pretty transparent, so you can see it's pretty wild. So yes, wild hair. Changes, yes, on a serious note. So I might need to change this once the lockdown comes. I'll probably cut my hair. Might do something a bit radical, I don't know. Leave it in the comments below. Shall I go for Mohican, bit of a side cut, left cut, do some patterns? I don't know. But onto a more sort of serious note on the changes. With what's going on now with lockdown and everything, is some of us, a lot of changes are being imposed on us, and for my profession, whilst I may not be working right now, but throughout my professional life I've worked in change management, changes, and I've gone through a lot of changes and helped people go through changes in their work life. And the concluding thing is that a lot of people like you and me, we're all resistant to change. So one of the changes coming in next week, if I use public transport, I have to put a face mask on. I don't want to put a face mask on, yeah, because I just think it's well, I won't go into the debate of why I don't want to put a face mask on, but that's a change being imposed, and we have to do that. If I don't have a face mask on, I can't go on the public transport. So if I want to do something, I have to change. Yeah, does that make sense? So that change is being imposed on me. And there is the old quote, if you want to change some things in your life, you got to change some things in your life. And it sounds pretty standard, but it is difficult. It takes courage to change, yeah, and sometimes we need to grab the bull by the horns, so to speak, and take it on. But I'll give you an analogy which I read in a book this morning. As one of the changes I've been doing is I've been reading a lot more. an awful lot more, and taking information in and learning new things. Because one of those quotes, when I was a young kid, you know, often we used to disrespect the elders, because there was quotes like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Now, I'm an old dog, yeah. Last week I was 59, so I'm starting my 60th year, so yeah, technically I'm an old dog. I could retire. I think at 65 here in the UK you can get the state pension. Now, technically I'm an old dog, but I'm learning new tricks all the time. Yeah, and as I swap hands with the camera, so I'm learning new tricks all the time. So that quote, whoever came up with that, it's a load of BS, yeah, corporate BS, and these people come up with a lot of corporate BS. But to change, it takes courage. And that book that I was reading this morning, it was referring to a book, I think by Seth Godin. So often books refer to other books to get their message across. So I'm going to give you this analogy, which Seth Godin had come up with, about there are 3 types of people in life, in society and all that, and it is pretty much the same, because this is all about change. So the analogy he gave was about 3 people queuing in a supermarket. Yeah, it's quite topical this, because obviously we have to do a lot of queuing with our social distances now in supermarkets, but 3 types of people, 3 queues. Yeah, so there's the first type of person who gets in the shortest queue. Yeah, they're in the shortest queue because they see all these other long queues. They get in the shortest queue, and despite seeing all the other queues moving quicker and their queue is not moving at all, they stay in that queue. They will not move because they're in the shortest queue. They believe they're in the best one. They ain't changing. They're staying in that queue. Then there's the second person who, opposite to the first, is they're changing queues all the time. They see the queues moving and they're continually chopping and changing. Yeah. And then there's the third person who is in a queue, whether it be the short one, the long one, and then after a bit of an assessment and time, they see which one is the better one to go in, and then they change, and then they stick with that after they've looked at all the facts and figures. Yeah. Now, what that book was saying is we need to be more like the third person, yeah, where we need to think more, think about what we're going to do, and from that make our best calculate judgment. And I did see something on what was it I saw on a YouTube about a quote: think more, follow less. And that sort of sounds quite true, doesn't it? We need to think more, follow less. So following certain things, it's not good for us. We need to put more thought into it. I don't know what your thoughts are on that analogy from Seth Godin about the 3. Oh look, here's the river again, about the three types of people. Leave it in the comments below. I think I've been through all 3 types myself in life. Yeah, I've lived quite a full life, and there's so much more to live. But that's my take on changes and those 3. So let's move on and see some other things and take on the next topic. Yeah. So what is the other topic I'm going to talk about? Well, and I have got the third one about how we can save our feet more. Yeah, so if you want to fast forward to that one you can, but I'm talking about, I mentioned about some things being wasteful with shoes, and people have been talking, I see things on the old YouTubes and blog reviews about how to save money on shoe rotations and whatever. And yeah, really, you know, the best way to save money on shoe rotation is you don't have a rotation. You just run with one pair of shoes, like I did in my first marathon, and that's all we need. It's just the one pair. But one thing that I've definitely changed is I've stopped watching shoe reviews. I've stopped reading anything about latest shoes, the latest and the greatest. Oh, and I was guilty of that, as many as other people who start, and I've been through my fair share of different brands. But what I found is that especially during this lockdown, of learning what's important in life. Yeah, and for me, I don't know about you, but close friends and family are the most important things in our life. not having the latest greatest pairs of shoes and watching about the latest greatest, to me that is a complete waste of time. And I know some guys out there and gals still watch that. I remember in the early days I used to watch Ginger run some of his reviews, and some of the shoes I had totally disagreed with what he's saying, because it's just his opinion, which is great. Yeah, that's his opinion, but as a professional, it sorry, I've just seen here a looks like a tent has just been left. Yeah, what can I say? Clearly not recycling their gear. So anyway, where was I? Yes, watching, reading about the latest greatest shoes. There's no need for that, and as I say, I was as guilty of that in the past, but what I've learnt now is I don't need to watch that stuff. It's a complete waste of time. Seeing what the latest greatest shoes are, and I've seen stats on, whilst I run low mileage, I think for me, based on my mileage, if I'm running 400, 500, 600 miles, which is what we should be doing with our shoes, or until they, you know, aren't supporting enough. And I know some shoes fall apart earlier than others, but is everybody running their shoes till they fall apart? Well, having seen some statistics, I don't think so. But it's a utter waste of time. I really, for me, my time is better served with my close friends, cooking, learning, reading. I don't really learn anything by, I've just bought, I mean, the classic one is, I've done it, and I see people, you've bought your latest greatest pair of running shoes, and you've been out in them, you feel great, but then you're back on watching another review of another shoe, you think, oh, I've got to get that one, you know, or I've got to get this one, I've got to get that one. Why? What's this over consumerism, commercialism of wanting to see the latest greatest? I mean, yeah, the Nike Alpha Fly came out, but really you know, unless you're in that X% of elite athlete or running right on top end, what's the need for those? Yeah, apparently they all sold out, along with the Saucony Endorphin Pro. They all sold out, and I don't know whether you know, but basically the productions over in China or wherever it is, they can't produce them because of this lockdown or wherever, so they've sold out. There was not much stock, shall we say. And but I just don't, now having learnt what I've learnt, I really don't understand. I think you guys, you need to stop it. Stop watching this stuff. It doesn't do anything. And from my experience, having ran, when I ran my first marathon, I only had one pair of shoes. Yeah, one pair of shoes, and those were the shoes I trained in, those are the shoes I ran in, and those are the shoes that I finished the race in. I think halfway through the training I had done the mileage, or coming up within a few weeks of the marathon, I bought another pair, because those pair had ran out. I'd done the 500-600 miles in them, and needed to get a new pair, and that was it. But it was the same pair of shoes. Yeah, it was the Brooks Ghost 8, and I went into the store that I bought them from, bought the same one, exactly the same colour, same thing, and ran in those. So, you know, we don't need, I've seen a lot of top athletes that talk about having a quiver of shoes, and I think the most that they have is 3. Yeah, I've seen somewhere there's like people who got 6, 7. Some I saw on a friend of mine sent me a link of someone on Instagram where it looked like they had 30 or 40 pairs. I don't get it. Why is it like the Imelda Markov of I don't know whether some people watching this want to be the Imelda Markov of running shoes, but for me personally, I just find it's not good use of my time. I'd rather read an insightful book or learn something, and to help me change and become a better person. Watching these shoe review videos doesn't add to my knowledge or information of anything really, because I've got the shoes that I'm running, that I'm comfortable in. If I want to try out some other things, as I always say, I'll just go to find a store where they are, or find online, get them, try them on. If they're good, great. If not, send them back, not buy them. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Anyway, on to the next topic. So my next topic, sort of foot related. Yeah, well, it is foot related. So talk about changing ourselves and you know, stop wasting our time looking at stuff and reading stuff that really doesn't add anything to ourselves. And I found something that absolutely brilliant that helps save my feet, and I might talk about it in detail as a review of the particular product or item, but it's absolutely brilliant because I've, like a lot of runners or whatever, we have issues. Oh, the wind's picking up here. Hopefully this is clear. I might need to bring it a bit closer, but hey, ooh, camera right in face. As a runner, yeah, I've got terrible feet. I had all sorts of issues. You know, we get athlete's foot, or we get fungus growing on certain nails, or our toes, not our toes drop off, the toenails drop off, and we need to take care of our feet. Yes. And really, it doesn't matter what shoes. Yeah, don't believe the myths about shoes help reduce this. Yeah, obviously, if you have to have them fitting right. So even the ones, and I've got shoes that fit right, the feet still fall apart. Yep, doesn't matter what you do, it's gonna happen. Yeah, sorry if that's the truth out there, but what I found is a brilliant product to help look after my feet. As I say, I'll go into more detail maybe as a separate video, and that's a foot spa. Yeah, got myself a foot spa, and with that, to help with the nails, athlete's foot, and all that type of stuff. It's picking up real good. So is tea tree oil in the actual hot water. It helps reduce that. I think it's getting far too windy here now. I hope it's clear, but wow, the wind is blowing pretty good. But that's my tip on looking after our feet and a foot spa. I've come into a wooded area, a bit more sheltered from the wind. So, listen to the birds singing. Okay. It's so beautiful here. I just love it. That really concludes my video for today. Thank you so much for watching. And as I've mentioned, it takes courage to change. And we as humans, we've got this 6 inches between our ears, which is a brain, which identifies us above the other species. Yeah, when you see all the wonderful things of nature and how these creatures adapt and change and work with nature, we need to do the same, really. You know, we're made to think, we've got brains, let's use them. Yeah, and I'd love to hear your comments below and what your points, views, and we're all entitled to our own points of view and opinions, which is great. Leave it in the comments below. I'm open to hear all sides of stories and views, and what excites you, what things you're doing, how you're changing, not changing, because some people don't want to change, which is fine. If that's how people want to do that, that's entirely up to them. But yes, for me, I just want to finish off with that line that I'd read, is think more and follow less. Yeah, there's lots of people we just do not need to follow, and we just need to think a little more and think for ourselves, because there's a lot of stuff out there which, you know, for want of a better word, yeah, it's got a funny smell. Yeah, absolutely. So think more, follow less, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And I'm off now for a later run, because as I said, I changed my plans, which is okay. Laters.